Good afternoon, everybody. How are you all? Thank you all so much for tuning in to another podcast of Mikase Sukase, and I am your host, Niko House. I want to thank you all once again so much for tuning in, and also, of course, a special thanks to our sponsor, the Credit Surgeons. If you're looking to have your credit repaired as soon as humanly possible, that would be the route to go. You can visit them and schedule an appointment at www.thecreditsurgeons.com. I also want to thank or give a special thanks to our patrons on Patreon. Join our $1 Follow $1 campaign and show the mainstream media that if they will not invest in the truth, then you will invest in those who do. You can join that campaign by donating $1 to www.patreon.com/mikasesukasa. Now that we got that out of the way, I want to go ahead and talk about something that obviously many of us have had our attention fixated on for quite some time since it's been released, which is the FISA or Nunes Memo. Well, the truth is that there is a lot to take in with the release of this memo. Now, if you all recall, just from a analytical standpoint regarding how the Dems handled its release, because I don't think that this was worth. It exposed a lot, but they tried to pretend and parade around like this memo contained every single secret that the FBI had, and that if we released it, it would just be the damnation of all intelligence institutions. Okay, clearly that was not the case. They also pretended, because remember, it was going to be a Democratic response to the quote-unquote Nunes Memo, and they pretended that it was going to be this just unbearably subjective, partisan piece of work that is clearly just there to try and absolve Donald Trump from any type of responsibility for the Russiagate situation, which that's not what it was, actually. It was actually a pretty objective, fact-based, material fact-based memo. I didn't see anything nefarious about it, and I saw some of the content that it reported on as being nefarious. But the memo itself was, and this is coming from a progressive, was pretty objective. It didn't actually attack any party. It only talked about literally the members that were involved. It didn't bring up unnecessary names. It didn't try to incriminate unnecessary people or anything like that. It didn't allege extra things, like it didn't allege any type of extra investigation or try to really undermine what was going on in the investigation with the Senate Judiciary Committee, or even bolster it. It was just saying, like, look, these are the facts, and the people should know this because they believe that they have an objective institution looking out for their best interests, and that is clearly not the case right now. So, with the memo, I don't know if you all know the timeline of it, but there was an initial application to spy on Carter Page, who used to work for Trump's campaign. Now, the long and short of it is the fake dossier from Christopher Steele is what was used as the primary source of justification for that application to be approved. Mind you, whenever the FBI applied to spy on Carter Page, they said that whenever they asked who paid for or who was involved in the dossier, they said a known U.S. actor. Ladies and gentlemen, as far as warrants are concerned or any type of, surveillance, you need to have some pretty damn specific information. I need to know the names of everyone involved. You're going to have to know who paid for it, because if that warrant comes back, much like it is right now, and it brings trouble to the court system or the people who are involved in signing it, there's going to be hell to pay. People are going to lose their jobs. People, in some cases, could end up being sued. And because they did not do things the right way, it was put on blast. Neither the initial application in October 2016 nor of any of the renewals disclosed or referenced the role of the DNC, the Clinton campaign, or any party or campaign in funding Steele's efforts, even though the political origins of Steele's dossier were then known by the senior DOJ and the senior FBI officials. All right? That means that they were hiding it. And there's actually further proof that they were hiding it the further we look into this. The report also only states that Steele was working for a known U.S. person, as I was talking to you about a second ago, but it did not name Fusion GPS or Glenn Simpson, who was actually he worked for the law firm Perkins Cole, and it was the attorney / law firm representing the DNC. So DNC literally has their finger in every piece of this pie in regards to the Trump dossier, but it was not reported as such whenever the application for the surveillance warrant was put in. Now, they knew, the FBI knew, and the DOJ knew that Fusion GPS was working for the DNC, and so was that law firm. But they allowed it to pursue anyway. So despite recognizing the fact that we've had despite recognizing the fact that there is clearly some political agenda, clearly political bias, that there is a likelihood that whatever is taking place right now is simply to get one person in office and ensure that another person does not enter office. And by all standards set by the past, court orders and otherwise, this should not have been allowed. Let's talk about the clear conflict of interest. We don't even have to talk about that because I've gone over it hundreds of times. With Robert Mueller and James Comey being friends, Andrew McCabe being personally trained by James Comey, who clearly threw the investigation way out of whack. Andrew McCabe, his wife, taking donations from the Clinton camp, the $700,000 donation. And once again, Andrew McCabe also working for Robert Mueller. The people who claimed that crowd strike was the people who claimed that the DNC was hacked by Russians. The CEO used to also work for Robert Mueller. So, and him and James Comey are still friends. So you see where things get a little bit dicey, but yet this application was still approved for some reason. The memo itself assesses that Steele did not provide information to Yahoo News, although Steele admitted that he met with Yahoo News during the British court filings. So you have Steele lying and conniving, but this guy's supposed to be a credible source. Everybody seems to have the same story. This is unverified and salacious. This is not true. We were paid to say one thing, so of course we said something. But you see what I'm saying? Like, this guy is not credible, and yet this is the man who the majority of the American public is basing their opinion on Russiagate off of. Think about that. Because obviously it can't be the 17 intelligence agencies anymore. It can't be that. Because that article got retracted, in case you forgot. Remember? I don't know if you know that, but it did. So that whole discussion should have been nixed, but it never got nixed. People keep talking about it. So more interesting facts. The Deputy Attorney General, Bruce Orr's wife, was employed by Fusion GPS to assist with the cultivation of opposition research on Trump. So that means the Deputy Attorney General under the Obama administration actually was married to the woman who facilitated the Trump dossier. He actually took the dossier directly from his wife's hands and put it right into the FBI's hands. Mind you, when the application was filled out, once again, nothing was verified. Not even the person or the affiliations of that person who had submitted the application, who put the work into finding the dossier, which would be the DNC, the Democratic Party in general, Hillary super PACs, etc., etc. I don't really know where we can even start, people. The Department of Justice, the Deputy Attorney General, people. The Deputy Attorney General was literally married, or is literally married, to the person who is working for a propaganda-based company. If you go to their website right now, go to Fusion GPS and see what you find. Not a damn thing. They're gonna say, "Hey, you need to send us an email. Call us, because we can't post what we do here." If you have a website of a company who finds, quote unquote, information. And when you go to their website, it's, hey, you got to call us because we can't talk about what we do here. That should be a big ass red flag. Anybody should be able to recognize that from a mile away. Hey, I don't know about you guys, but this looks a little bit suspect. Right? I don't know what exactly Obama was thinking when he allowed that to transpire. You look like you were covering your ass. You look like you didn't care. Matter of fact, it looked like you were hiding something. And it is disgusting that you allowed this type of behavior of the FBI, even members of the CIA like John Brennan, giving the New York Times that fake ass intel about the 17 intelligence agencies. It's ridiculous, people. It is. Once again, it's important for us to call out Obama because Obama lied about a lot of things. There is some good in pockets that he did. But Obama got caught up. Clearly. He allowed the Hillary Clinton email investigation to be completely usurped by a corrupt shadow government, shadow intelligence, shadow counterintelligence. And it made us feel bad about it. And then fear-mongered the rest of the country and the rest of the world, saying, if you don't agree with this narrative, then you clearly support the Russians. Then I have to be one of those jerks that has to inform people right quickly, oh, what has Putin done that's so much worse than what our presidents and leaders have done, past and present? Well, he's a homophobe. Pfft, yeah, that's you looking at a long list of homophobes in this damn country that have been leaders and are still currently leaders. So why is he diametrically worse than Obama? Because Obama decided he was not homophobic after the legislation got passed. I remember Mr. He was against equal rights for marriage. So we gotta address that, right? Well, he tried to take over Ukraine one time. Yeah, do you know why he invaded Ukraine? It's because we were about to keep him out of a deal because the Ukrainian oligarchs made an under-the-table deal with China and with the EU, and it would have crippled Russia's economy. And even though they tried to bargain with all of us involved, we totally ignored them. So that was the only way that they can get a rational response out of us. So what's next? They go to Syria to save the country, to save Assad, where they're trying to do and implement a regime change. They went to Syria and ISIS starts retreating. We leave Syria and all of a sudden ISIS is defeated. But when we were there, for some reason, they couldn't be stopped. It's crazy how quick ISIS was defeated once we left, huh? It's crazy how quick ISIS was defeated once Trump stopped allowing them to be propagated by the CIA. Come on, people. But what this memo really tells us is that, well, one, in case you were wondering, yes, the deep state is real. We saw text messages between two FBI lovers talking about Andrew McCabe. We know that Andrew McCabe was handpicked by James Comey and was put in his position despite clear lack of experience. There's has not been a legitimate reason why he was put in that position other than the fact that he's loyal. We need accountability now more than ever. We need accountability now more than ever because we're at a climax. We're really at a crossroads when it comes to our intelligence community, how it interacts with the executive office, how that interacts with the legislative branch, and what our Supreme Court is going to put up with. We have a hole in the Supreme Court. We have holes in the executive branch. We have holes in our intelligence community, and they need to be plugged. But in order for any of that to take place, the people who have corrupted all of these institutions must, what did Hillary say? They must be brought to heel. They need to be brought to heel, though, yes. because it is getting to that point, people. Many Americans are getting fed up on both sides of the political on both sides of the political fence. Many Americans are tired of the same old shit. Because if we can't, people place a lot of blind faith into institutions. And it's weird to me because you all know, well, maybe not, but I'm not a fan of police, the idea of the institution of police. It's stupid to me. It's a problem that perpetuates more problems. And like, crime was allowed and even damn near sanctioned by some governments, local governments, and then allowed by the federal government. Mistreatment of certain races was allowed by federal governments and local governments. So then you have ill-gotten race relations. Then you have, crime rates going up because one race is not given the opportunity that the other race is given. And so crime rates are constantly plunging. Then they bring more cops on the street. And then they hate each other. Like, they bring racist cops who don't like the other race and then put them on the block. Then they start fighting and you're expecting to be... And then they bring out more cops to combat the same problem. It's like... And then we come to find out Nixon is actually... He perpetuated the drug war to specifically get rid of blacks. But... my thing is, there are people out there who know now we can't trust the FBI. We can't blindly buy into the idea of the FBI and assume that they're objective. But they think that the cops, the local beat cops who have to go through a little to no application process, that they're going to treat people and do the right thing, treat people the right way and do the right thing, that they can't be corrupt. We have to blindly bow down to them. But we already know our FBI is corrupt. So why wouldn't the highest level of the police state be corrupt? It's all the same. When everything comes down to the bottom line, people. The bottom line is the dollar. That's why McCabe traded so hard. I mean, yeah, he's a Democrat, but Democrats, when you remain a Democrat, when you're a neoliberal, it's because it's beneficiary to your ambition, to your dollar, to the security of your family. That's why Hillary switched over, because as a woman, she would have never been accepted into the Republican Party. She would never be where she's at if she was a Republican woman. Republicans don't have nonprofits that they can say they're going to collect donations and then help out like Haitians and people in Africa and people in Eastern Europe. They can't do that because it's against their ideology. At least it's a negative as far as how they're perceived and by their base. When you become a quote unquote liberal or progressive, you can all of a sudden do all those things and the party may see you as being an even better person. Like, oh, wow, they're really progressive. Look at all the help they've given. You get what I'm saying? Like, so it's just sad, though. It's just sad. Because it's getting to the point where people are going to fight back. It's inevitable, right? When are we going to see accountability? That's all I'm asking for. Rachel Maddow had the nerve to say that because Carter Page knew that he was being investigated, that it was part of some Republican GOP plot to exonerate the president. Because if I'm involved in an investigation, I better damn know about it. Especially one that's literally national news every day, especially if it's based off a dossier that's totally fake and unverified. What were the words that James Comey used? Salacious and unverified. That's what he said. Nobody's been able to verify anything about the dossier. Nobody. Ask someone. Ask anybody. Oh, okay, why do you believe in Russiagate? Oh, he's probably had some type of friendship with a Russian oligarch at one point in time. You think? Maybe, just maybe, that a billionaire had a relationship with a Russian oligarch. I can't believe it. Can't believe it. Next thing you're going to tell me is that Warren Buffett received an offer from the Freemasons. Probably. Billionaires do billionaire things. There's no such thing as an innocent billionaire. Period. There's no such thing as an innocent billionaire. Either they became a billionaire by stepping on the little guy on their way to the top, or they became a billionaire by when they become a billionaire, oftentimes they end up betraying everything they knew and the people who got them there. So there's no such thing as an innocent billionaire. But that does not mean Trump knows oligarchs. Therefore, Putin hacked the election. Therefore, Russiagate is true. It's illogical. That's a huge logical fallacy. I would love to know your thoughts on this issue. If you have any information, feel free to drop it. I think that this is a good place to stop. But like I said, I do want to reaffirm the fact that McCabe testified before the committee in December 2017 that no surveillance warrant would have been sought from Fisk without the Steele dossier information. No warrant to search Carter Page, who was working for Trump's campaign, would have been initiated if it wasn't for the fake, unverified, and salacious, in James Comey's words, dossier. And it turns out that Trump was right. They were being spied on. Broke clock. People, broke clock. He's not always right, but it would be kind of weird for him to say that totally out of nowhere, because then people really should believe he's senile in those scenarios. But he was correct. So I would love to know what you think about this. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Once again, special thanks to our sponsors, the Credit Surgeons. Just go check them out at thecreditsurgeons.com. Get that credit repaired with that nice little tax return you're going to be getting. So with that being said, people, always remember, find your balance. Peace.